Don't tell me that you're surprised by this. I'm not. This is the New York City Public Schools are sending home pamphlets with kids to parents to have them question and reflect on their whiteness. It would be weird if any school sent home a pamphlet with a kid asking their family to dissect their own race and determine if any of them are racist at home. That would be weird. But if they call it whiteness, well, then we can say that it's a power struggle and it's a thing we need to deinstitutionalize. That's what they're claiming here. They say a city public school principal is asking parents to reflect on their whiteness. They passed out literature that extols white traitors who dismantle institutions. Educational officials confirming that was correct. They told the New York Post this on Tuesday. The woke offensive at the East Side Community School in Manhattan features a ranking list titled The 8 White Identities, which range from white supremacist to white abolitionist. Man, imagine if you just said Jew instead of white. The curriculum, written by Barner Hess, an associate professor of African American Studies at Northwestern University in Illinois. God, that's where they all seem to come from, right? The racists, the worst ones. There is a regime of whiteness, and there are action-oriented white identities, he said. People who identify with whiteness are one of these, and he lists the 8. It's about time we build an ethnography of whiteness. What? Since white people have been the ones writing about and governing others, capitalizing the O in others. So you have white versus all others in his mind. That's what he's espousing to the children in New York City. Okay? In between the two extreme identities of supremacist and abolitionist are such categories as white voyeurism, which he defines as people that won't challenge white supremacists' desires or non-whiteness because it's interesting. Interesting. Okay. How about white privilege? That's a little bit less of an offense to him. He says that is just the being sympathetic to a set of issues, but only privately. You won't speak or act in solidarity publicly because benefiting through whiteness in public. You mean benefiting from whiteness in public? None of this is making sense, right? He's just saying there's a scale of how evil you are based on what you do to spite other white people if you're white. So again, if you have white skin and you do nothing to denigrate other white people and to try to tear down the institutionalized whiteness that exists because you are white, oh no, then you're a white supremacist and you're no good to him at all. If, however, you do the exact opposite, you say, well, I'm going to not just, betray my race, but I'm going to go a step further and call for the full-on abolition of me. Then you can be called a white abolitionist. Then you're in the green with him. So long as you would kill yourself for him, he likes you. It says the handout that was given to the students was accompanied by that color-coordinated meter, with the red zone being white, and then the other green zone being if you're going to be abolitioning white people, if you're going to abolish white people. New York City Department of Education told the New York Post that some parents at the school, which caters to 6th through 12th graders on the Lower East Side, first shared the material with the staff. So they said, well, this curriculum's fine because the parents gave it to us. So a couple of racist parents in New York gave us this, so we can give it to all the kids. That is the standard by which they are sharing information with children, is that, well, some of the parents gave it to us, so it's totally okay then. Pull your kids out of school. If you haven't already, what the hell are you doing watching this? They say, a principal then disseminated it to every parent, quote, as part of a series of material meant for reflection. It's food for thought. No, it's poison. It's poison. A DOE rep said, the Department of Education rep, said in a statement, anti-racism and the celebration of diversity is at its core of our work, and on behalf of young people in New York City and on the East Side Community Schools students, parents, and staff, partnering together to advance equity in their community. Equity is not equality. Equity means taking from you, if you have some, to give it to someone who doesn't, regardless of why. Unless they have a good and a better reason for why. Their intent, then that matters. But that's equity. Equity is making sure that the playing field is evened. So if one person doesn't work at all and the other person works their ass off, equity is making it equal, not actually the equality of outcome. So then you have them all defined. And you can go and read through these in more detail, but I think there are a few that I like, so we're just going to highlight a couple. I like white voyeurism. I think that's an interesting one because you've heard white privilege. You've heard about white privilege. You're a white privileged person. If you don't denounce your race, then you're privileged by being white. But if you go a step further than that, we've been hearing white supremacist. Oh, if you enable people who are white, you're a white supremacist yourself. I'd never heard of white voyeurism. And they say it's a person who won't challenge white supremacy. They desire non-whiteness because it's interesting or pleasurable, seeking to control the consumption and appropriation of non-whiteness, fascination with culture, consuming black culture without the burden of blackness. That's Hollywood. Hey, liberal elite Hollywood. Hey, everyone that's a liberal lefty elite. You are, if not a white supremacist, then a white voyeurist. Did you know that by definition? Read it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Share this video with someone you know. Like it, subscribe to it, hit the notification bell, and then make sure that you're doing everything else that you can think to do to keep America afloat.